Hello there. Welcome to EverPALS.
Hi, I'm Pokin.
Hey, Bogan. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing good.
What did we do last night?
We raided on Mangler.
Yes, we did.
I raided as Yarnex.
I obviously rated it as Pokin, and I boxed Trococo.
That's right.
You came up a little late, but we still got some loot, right? I got
Came
a
in
new
and
earring.
saved the day. Started tanking
Saved-
right away.
Saved the day.
That's what
That
Yarnex
earring
does.
I got has 515 hit points on it now.
Wow. So yeah, playing on Thornblade a couple of days ago, and then switching over to raiding on Mangler was kind of interesting. Do you think? You think so?
No, I had no problem. It's like riding a bike.
It was for me. It's like I was in North Row tanking mummies, and then I'm in Ashen Gate tanking stuff that hits for 8k.
I continued to die. I think I die more on my rogue than I do on the monk.
Yeah.
Even though we're having a harder time on the Thornblade server, obviously.
Well, I think we'll catch our stride. But let's not get distracted with Thornblade server. Today's episode is going to be about Mangler. So yeah, we raid with the guild called Pals. Yay, Pals.
Yay, pals.
I joined Pals back at the end of Luckland, and Hoken, you were one of the founding members, right?
OG member.
OG
member from the first week of Mangler launch. And we were holding strong for a little bit, and then come Velius, we did a small little merger with a couple of the people from Bloody Rapiers.
I remember Bloody Rapiers.
So they joined Pals, and then we've just been, getting new members throughout the time. But yeah, I was a founding member, OG. I think there's only maybe 5 or 6 of us left from that first week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get these OG members on the podcast and talk about their times with Pals for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sure Band-Aid and Joran and stuff would love to come and talk about it.
Cool. So yeah, last night. We raided Ashen Gate. We did Ashen Gate East first, and then we went over to West, and then we tried to finish up North and ran out of time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was unfortunate that that event we did with all the dragons, where you had to kill the assassins and the true shots and stuff.
Right.
That was crazy. That was my first time doing it.
Yeah, that one's Dinlet's army.
Dinlet's army. Yeah, right. That was wild.
I have no idea what's happening in that. I know our raid leader, Rippy, he gives us all the instructions we can handle, and I still really didn't know what was going on. I knew my job was just to get as much aggro as possible, and I did that.
Yeah, I saw one of the other warriors, Dak. He had like 8 or 10 mobs on him.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah, there was a point I had probably 7 or 10 of the enforcers on me. But with Reptile and Sloth, I was good. And then I would send you a message on Pokin of Reptile.
I couldn't even boxing that because I was also main assist last night. So trying to pick which mobs to attack and then keep Reptile on the tanks and then maybe get some heals off without getting aggro. It was a little bit intense for me, especially with the boxing. But
yeah, so the first time we did that, I was boxing on the Shaman Slowcoco, and it was kind of nice because I had dedicated heals for Yarnex, but at the same time, trying to keep them synced was pretty difficult.
I just put Trococo in a corner. I was like, you face this corner here.
Yeah. We had a good time for that raid. I won some loot. You said you got an earring, right?
I got the earring. I had a MPG. Maybe I don't know if it was trials or just a MPG zone wide drop, but I had an earring from there, and it wasn't fantastic. So I replaced it last night. Right? I almost got it for 1. I think Serge bid me up.
I remember that somebody bid you up on that.
Yeah, I would have been happy with 1 though.
For sure.
It's got 5 decks on it, a bunch of hit points. I'm almost at 2,000 or 20,000 hit points now on Pokken. So
Yeah, I'm surprised how cheap stuff is going in TSS. I was expecting people to dump their DKP on a lot of these items.
oh yeah, I think a lot of our new members just don't have the DKP, so they don't
That's
even
true.
bother.
Yeah, just waiting. Wonder what people are holding out for. We haven't finished all of Frost Crypt. I think we did. Maybe we finished all of Frost Crypt 1. There's two regions of Frost Crypt that you have to do. We haven't done the second phase yet.
Rumor has it we're going to be doing that on Sunday.
Cool. I'm ready for it. It's been hard. Like each fight, each expansion, the encounters get a little harder and harder, and more involved, and operating in a box in these raids becomes more and more difficult.
I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you were pretty disappointed with how easy OMM was for Omens of War.
You are not wrong. I was very disappointed in that. I remember on Povar, we couldn't even kill OMM, even like later in era. I guess eventually it just kind of past Depths of Dark Hollow. We didn't really do it that often, but we just couldn't do it. We could clear all the rest of Anguish. Eventually, like I remember on my warrior named Neonite. If anybody remembers Neonite, let me know. On Povar, I tanked all of Anguish from start to finish on the one character. But when we get to OMM, we just called it a night. So back it up. We're not going to even try it. It wasn't worth it for us.
And did you guys do the Archmages?
We did. We did everything else. And it got to be a pretty easy farm for us, but we just never bothered with OMM. We didn't have some of the third party. I don't know. I don't know how does Daybreak or Darkfall Games feel about Gina?
I don't think they have a problem with Gina. I think that's okay because P99 lets people use Gina as well.
Okay, so it's like Gina's kind of like in WoW where you have these add-ons that gives you messages on your screen or audio triggers or alerts and tells you, hey, something's happening, you need to react to it. And they just weren't available when I was in era. It wasn't really available, and trying to coordinate that with people was hard. And we also just didn't have the gear from before because we didn't have the agents and change. But eventually we kind of caught up. I think we killed Mayon Mistmore once on Povar.
Right.
But yeah, I was kind of disappointed, and it was also time from the PhD where I was working on stuff, and I was like, I wasn't getting the same enjoyment out of it, just raiding. There wasn't the challenge there, and so and then I came back when Depths of Dark Hollow dropped with my rogue, and then I remember Rippy saying we could really use a warrior. And I think, did you send me a tell? You're like, say something, you can do it.
I think you and I had recently just talked about you going warrior anyways. You had said something to me like, I used to be a warrior. I was pretty good at it. I could be a good warrior for the guild.
Yeah.
And I remember Rippy saying that, and I said, hey, Rippy, I know somebody who could be a good warrior. And then I think that was it. I think you were like, I guess I'm going to be a warrior now.
Right. And so in the span of, I think it was about 3 months, I went from creating the character to being one of the raid tanks for PALS and being able to tank, I guess, anything in
you got more AC than some of the other warriors, right?
I do. They have me beat out on hit points, but on AC, I'm pretty decked. And it's embarrassing, but I still have empty AUG slots, or very weak AUGs.
Well, we have to go farm some AUGs for you.
Yeah, I guess we will. But it's okay. Like I said, I'm able to keep up with the content just fine. So it's not a dire situation. It's just, it would make it easier for everybody if, I guess, if your main tank was better geared.
For sure. And then Poken's doing all right over on Mangler as well. I've gotten a lot of gear this expansion because I was wearing Anguish gear. I didn't really get to play a lot. I think Depths of Dark Hollow and Prophecy of Roe was really screwy for gear. We didn't really don't know. I think we had a hard time like just getting gear, and then I felt like
Right.
every raid that I was on for what is it, Demiplane?
Right. That's the end
I think
game, end zone
they
for Depths of Dark Hollow.
they did not drop any like chain loot.
Well, you did
I
get
saw
the Gupton illusion, the range slot item, right?
that's the rogue only item.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
rogue
got
only.
that,
That's pretty nice.
but I didn't really get a whole lot from that
You got a
expansion.
charm. Yeah,
I don't want.
I brought it up. I brought up the charm.
So I'll talk about that for a second. One of the charms um, is it increases based off of how much gear you get from Demiplane. So
Right.
it gets better. But it just says increases. So before you get the charm off the body, you don't know how much it has on it, right?
Right. I
So
think what does it start at? What does it show? Like 370 something hit points or 390?
yeah, something like that. And I was
Right.
like, oh, if I get more armor, it only goes up from there.
Right.
And we were already talking about not having a ton of chain loot drop in there. So I was like, whatever, I'll get a nice little charm for the charm slot. And when I finally got on my character, it had no stats.
Zero stats.
It only no stats, nothing.
And also only works with visible items from Demiplane, like boots, arms, chest, legs. It doesn't count like earrings or rings or ranged items. So that range item you have for your rogue doesn't even count towards that, which is pretty sad. I think I wasn't raiding that night when you won it. I think you texted me and told me about it. I was like, oh, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, I've been saving up my DKP for a couple expansions, so I wasn't really worried about it. So, but that'll teach me not to, do my research.
Always do your research. That's what one of my favorite things to do research with as far as item drops is raidloot.com. So shout out to raidloot.com. I really enjoy I like their interface. You can sort all the items by expansion, or you can do up to an expansion and older, and then you can sort it by like AC or hit points, or very lot of combinations for that, and it really helps me prioritize what items I want. I think some people just kind of don't even research. It's like, oh, that looks shiny. I think I'll bid 300 AKP on it. While others like me, I'm like strategizing, trying to determine, how much am I going to spend, which slot needs the best upgrade, and like where are we fighting now? What has a chance to drop? I do all that stuff.
Yeah, I really like raidloot.com as well. I use it. I just go to the expansion and I'll switch to Rogue and I'll see all the available stuff that's gonna drop and new illusions and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy that site as well. I knew this expansion I really wanted to get new visible armor. Next expansion I can work on rings and earrings and stuff, but last night I couldn't pass up that earring.
We might be going back to Death Knell, so I've heard we're going to go back to Death Knell because we didn't do much with Death Knell because PALS was kind of in a, attendance was kind of down, I think, right? And also Death Knell isn't the easiest zone. Like once you get past the second event, it's pretty easy, but getting past the second event was hard for us at first. But I think we have that on farm
I think
now.
You guys are going to go to Death Knell. I think it's going to be on Tuesdays though, so I can't usually make Tuesday nights. It'll be
I'll try
okay
to pick up a ring or something.
I prefer all the new content anyways.
Sure. Well, Death Knell has the nice clickies as like auras for the entire raid or the entire group. It doesn't only apply to you. So you click the ring, it gives you like extra attack or better heals. And there's one more, I can't remember what it is, but they're really nice.
Oh yeah, we have to go back. We have that earring for the druid box, but we need to get that one, the damage one from that same Eldar Forest or wherever it was.
Right, the Eldar Forest, which is a really cool zone.
I don't want to tell anybody about it. I don't want people to know where we're going. Just like I sent you the video for Thornblade. Oh, what spot to go? And I was like, oh, this is the spot that we were at. That's very interesting, but nobody else go there.
Well, it's that's an episode ago. People have already listened to it. It's the secret's out. But by the time they're listening to it, we might be beyond that.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so, yeah, because we're level up. Again, we're talking about Thornblade. Remember, we're talking about Mangler today. We're
Um,
really excited about Thornblade though.
well, speaking of Mangler,
Yeah.
got a couple cool expansions coming up. Anything you're interested in?
So the Buried Sea is the next expansion. I don't have a lot of memories with that expansion. I just remember I didn't like it. So, I mean, just to say you don't like something that then you don't remember it isn't that great. But one of my big reasons is the central hub zone, uh, Cata something,
Catacastilium or whatever.
Catacastilium, something like that. It's a circular zone, and I just remember having to walk really far to try to get to the other zones that you wanted to go to,
Mm.
and the one
Ship
after
to
it,
ship combat, though, right?
I never participated in ship-to-ship combat, but I know that Yarnax probably will, especially as his little deputy illusion.
El Bandito.
El Bandito will be at the helm, calling for a cannon volley.
We can keel haul some people.
Yeah, I like it.
And
He
then
just jumped right on.
after the Buried Sea, we've got Secrets of Fadeware, which I'm
Secrets of Fate,
personally
where I know
excited
you're
for.
really excited about that because you want to see Carafirm once again, right?
Yes, the killable version of Carafirm, the sleeper, or the I think it's the weakened state, but yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
And they
my
have that's the expansion with the giant like mechanized robot that wanders through Steamfont Mountains.
okay. Yeah, my time on Povar, that was kind of the end of my raiding days. I still did groups and hung out with people and did things like that. But after the Serpent Spine, I didn't do much raiding, so all the content's going to be new to me. And the content we're doing now, I don't remember much about because we only did it a few times. But anything beyond Serpent Spine is going to be new to me, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, so we got Buried Sea, Secrets, Seeds of Destruction. I've only heard good things about Seeds of Destruction,
Yeah,
but
Seas
I
of
don't know
Destruction was
much
the time I
about it.
quit playing completely. The reason I quit playing completely, I mean, I sure had some personal reasons, but also the mercenaries. I didn't like the mercenaries because a somebody like level up the mercenary was almost as good as me as a main tank, and so a lot of people just went off on their own, and it kind of dissolved the social aspect of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're kind of at that point already. I can understand why they put mercenaries in.
Right.
It's hard for maybe me to go and get those augs or whatever I need if you're not on because I don't have a tank or I don't have a
Right.
slower.
Right.
So
Saying you
to
need me?
I'm saying I need you
No, I
to
need
get
you
my
too,
power
man.
source.
Well, I need power sources as well. I know we talked about doing this. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow morning, and we could talk about that next podcast.
For sure. I know Underfoot is coming out at the end of the year, and I've only heard that everything smacks people around in Underfoot. I heard they're really powerful mobs and really difficult raids. So we'll
Well, as
see
a
how
tank, I'm not
Underfoot
looking forward
goes.
to that, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. We'll have to really get me geared up by then. I do like the lore of Underfoot. Like we go, uh, Brel Cerelius is one of the original creators of all the races on North, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what we're going to be doing down there, but we go down to his world, which has never been explored in the previous expansions. Even like going to Plane of Time, like Brel Cerelius was not there. We've never encountered Brel.
I'll tell you what. When I was on test server, I was
Mm-hmm.
doing some of the epics. I don't know if it was Monk Epic or Warrior Epic or what I was doing, but I had to go to the hole, right?
Right.
So I'm on my level 110 monk and I go to the hole and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that Yale is down here. And I think after they boost up the hole, they put another mob down there, Master of the Seal or whatever, right?
Yeah, I remember Master of the Seal. Yep.
So I kill Master of the Seal, and right beyond Master of the Seal is the entrance to one of the underfoot zones. And I can't remember which zone it is, but that's not really important. What is important is I walked in there on my 110 monk, and I was used to, I could run through the zones, get
Right.
aggro on everything, feign death, and it was fine. But I walked into that zone, and the first like couple mobs I targeted were all like bright red to me, and I was like,
Right. Red at
hmm.
110.
I think maybe I was level 100, so
Okay. So I know
but
by
I
the time
wasn't
we get to Seeds of Destruction, it's already a level 85 cap. That's be level
right.
85. Whoa, that sounds scary.
Yeah, so even at level 100, I was like, oh, I probably should not be in here.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
remember turning around like almost instantly. Like you know when you're not supposed to be in a place, you're just like,
Right.
mm.
Yeah. I mean, I like those feelings, but also I think sometimes I have those feelings and you talk me out of them. I'll be like, this looks a little too challenging. And you're like, we can do it. And then most of the times we end up doing it.
That's me role playing as Pokken
Yeah.
as the careless.
In EverQuest, I'm typically a very cautious person, but I after playing Yarnax for more and more and like building up the confidence is like because remember I've only been playing him for like 3 months, and um, it's just strange to me that I'm already tanking like this end game stuff. And Rippy will just be like, "All right, Yarnax, you're up first. You ready?" Yeah, let's go. And then it just happens, and I really like that. I think it's a lot of fun being a main tank. But there's a lot of work that goes into it because being a main tank, you take on that responsibility is like you have to maintain your gear because if you die, um, other people could die until the next tank picks it up.
Yeah, or you could die and then the whole raid can wipe, and that's not
Right.
fun either.
Yeah. So you also have to be able to hold your aggro. Um, so you have to keep your weapons up and you have to be sure to match those buttons to hold that aggro. But that was one of my reasons for not wanting to be a warrior when I first started, and that's why I chose rogue. Because with the rogue, especially early expansions, you really don't have to worry about your weapons, right? Everything else,
No, you
go ahead.
oh, you only have to worry about your weapons. Yeah.
The
Okay.
weapons and maybe some worn haste, and then you're fine. But if you have your epic, that's 40% haste, you're good until Luckland, pretty much, right? If you wanted to keep just the 1.0.
Yeah, I think I was using the epic up to Luckland because the next best item would be the item you get off of not Yellowneck, the NTOV boss, Vulak.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Fulak's dagger, and then once you get into Luckland, there's like the dagger you get from Caddyshaw and the Bloodbath and a couple of the other ones you get from
Yeah, so that's why I
some of the
chose
different end zones.
Rogue specifically. I do like playing tanks. I like that role in the group and or raid of being the main tank and everything kind of focusing on you. I really enjoyed playing Rogue. I think it was very nice be able to like min max like when you pop your disciplines, like positioning. You always have to be careful with that versus like a wizard or a mage. You can just send your pet in, nuke, nuke, nuke. It's it's a different. There's different styles for each class, but I never played a healer. So shaman's the first time I've ever played a healer, which I don't know if that's classified a healer per se, but it's not bad. But I really enjoy the war.
Do you miss being the rogue?
I do sometimes. I really do. Because if I'm not tanking, then I'm not contributing. And when I'm not contributing, I feel like, well, why am I here tonight? But with bosses, they last so long. Nowadays, we usually have a rotation of 3 to 5 warriors swapping out as the fight's going. So I feel like I'm still contributing.
I think I've always wanted to be a rogue, right? And I played a rogue on Ragefire, I want to say, one of the first TLPs.
Okay.
And I only got to like level 40, but I was having fun the whole time. And then I played a warrior only really to help out pals because I knew there was a necessity for tanks on the server.
Right.
Yeah, obviously there still is, but
Yeah.
I think Rogue has like a nice special place in my heart. I wish they didn't nerf Rogue so much. Also, remember I told you I wanted to talk about this. I wish Rogues had 2-hand piercing abilities.
Right, but it was like it's huge, like either a spear or almost like a javelin or something, just to, where you couldn't have offhand attacks, but you had these massive backstabs.
Yeah, could you imagine if I was able to backstab with two-hand piercer?
It would be interesting. I'm trying to think. It would be, yeah, because I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of it as the tank. If you pop up behind a mob and hit your whatever it's called, like assassin strike or something to up your damage, and you pop a mob for like 30k, and then I'm sitting there trying to get aggro from you. Um, so that's the only. I'm trying to think of it as like in my point of view, trying to keep you alive and to keep the mob facing away from you. But I think it would be a nice option. I feel rogues have their one ability to backstab, and all their DPS hinges upon that backstab ability, right? Whereas other classes
and
have
and
little flexibility
positioning, yeah.
and positioning. I mean, you do get AAs to kind of negate it, but you still really need to be behind the mob. Well, let's take an example of like last night. So we fought the dragon. Yeah, I'm trying to Sothgor the Twiceborn. If you're behind him, he'll hit you for an 8k or 10k tail swipe. So what were you doing there? Were you trying to like position yourself just right where you can try to get a backstab in, or were you just not be able to get backstabs in?
I was dead most of the time.
Well, you're not doing any DPS when you're dead.
I no, I started off at the side and then I went to the back, and
Well,
I
this
was
could be why
fine.
you're dead all the time.
Well, I was able to keep myself healed. It was
Okay.
when we had how to say this nicely, some dum dums hitting the oozes.
Right.
Uh, that is what was getting me killed, not the tail swipes.
Right. We have a
I
lot of
did
new
get
people in
launched
the raid.
though. I did get launched pretty far that one time too. I
Yarnex
don't know
got
how that
launched.
happened.
That was the first time I got launched, and I got stuck in a wall. And I was like, well, is this where I'm going to be now? And then I finally got out of there.
Oh, you survived the launching?
Yes.
Oh, as soon as I went up in the air, I said, "Oh, all right, I'll wait for the res."
Yeah. So what? So you originally played Flexin the Warrior. What kind of made you want to change to Pokin the Rogue? Was it just like you always want to be a rogue and you only played warrior, like you said, just to help the guild, and then the guild got enough warriors so you had the option to leave, or was there something else?
I was in a unique situation where I was able to play like all the time. When I first moved down this way, my
Okay.
wife was still not here. I had just unlimited free time to basically play EverQuest. It was right at server launch, and I could min max. The competition was pretty high for the warriors up through like Velius.
Okay.
So you want to get your epic first. Everybody was really competitive. And then once Velius hit and I was working overnights and my wife was here, it started getting a little bit weird for me just playing EverQuest all the time. So I couldn't go and get all the faction, the play and all the faction and stuff in
Right.
Velius too. And that's like the most crucial time in the game where gear is everything, because there's no room for error. You either need to be max geared or don't even bother tanking, right?
Right. That was the situation my main was in on Povar. He just didn't have the gear, so he was only relegated to off tanking really until um, Omens of War.
So at that point, we were just going through the merger. We picked up maybe like 2 more warriors or 3 more warriors. We had a couple warriors that were moonlighting here and there. So
Oh, right. I
I
think I've heard of those situations.
I pretty much said this is a perfect opportunity for me to go rogue. There was only like 1 or 2 at the time, so whatever weapons dropped, I was able to get them for really cheap. So
Yeah, there's a balance of like how many warriors a guild needs because, like I said, for Yarnax, and it's true for everybody, if you're not tanking a mob as a warrior, then you're not really providing much DPS, and you're not really doing a job. I mean, you're there in case the warrior who is tanking ends up falling, but other than that, like if that warrior is going to stay up the whole time, then you're better off being like a DPS or something. But you have to have, I'd say, what, at least 4 or 5 warriors that have really good attendance, and we're right at that. We have 4 or 5 warriors with decent attendance. I think We just have 4 or 5 warriors, period. We have 5.
Plus Tina.
Tina, yeah. I haven't kept up with her gearing. I know we tried for Brutish Blade of Balance, which is like, I still think it's the best warrior item in the game, period. Just because it's from Omens of War, and I'm still using it and getting great benefit from it all the way in
From
TSS.
from Gates.
Gates of Discord, right? I'm sorry. Thanks for the correction. Yeah, it's from TACV. But yeah, if we got that for her, I think that would have changed a whole lot because she has her Anguish signets done, and we do a couple runs in Anguish. You're geared, and that's what happened with Yarnax. One night in Anguish, I got 8 items for I think 120 DKP total, and the legend of Yarnax was born.
So staying on topic with Mangler, want to know what you think of PALS, of the server in general. I know there are some competitions with the upper echelon guilds for a little bit, but how do you think Mangler's holding on? I think personally, it's still really well populated.
Sure.
I'm surprised because we went through some of the hardest stages where we lose a lot of people, and then I thought we would lose a lot of people with Mischief and Thornblade, but we're still going.
No, I think we did. We might have lost a couple of people, but not anybody really key. I mean, I'm saying like EverPALS, great, but like it's not hindering us. I think we have to use more boxes maybe than we would like. But also, I think some of the other guilds, like during Prophecy of Ro, and also towards the end of Depths of Dark Hollow, I think they collapsed, and we picked up a lot of people from other guilds. But I'm really shocked how many people are just starting a new character from scratch and join our guild, which is great. To have new players join Mangler is surprising, don't you think?
Yeah, if I was starting off, I wouldn't join Mangler personally, but
Well,
I
think
can
if you really
see.
want to see, like maybe you quit during Prophecy Row on live, but then you want to see what's going beyond, then this would be because otherwise you'd have to wait a few years for Aradune or Mischief Thornblade to catch up.
I think it's just amazing how many servers there are, how many people are still playing EverQuest. The game's 22 years old.
Right.
That's amazing still.
Yeah. And also, you have to remember that we're not going to talk about too much, but WoW, at this time, WoW just launched, with the Burning Crusade was released on their classic WoW. And to see our numbers hold after Burning Crusade just released, I know like people are playing EverQuest because they like EverQuest, but people also play these games just because they like these games in general. And I thought the combination of Mangler Thornblade opening up and WoW Classic releasing the Burning Crusade, I thought PALS was in trouble. And I'm really happy to see that we had a full raid last night and we were able to clear through content, like current content, with relative ease. It's still challenging, which to me, that's what I look for. But it's not like we're pounding our heads up against the wall. We're plowing through it pretty good.
Do you have any cool PAL stories you want to share?
Cool PAL stories. Oh, let's see. Oh, well, I remember when I started as a rogue, we already talked about where like you allowed me to, or I guess Mafaka kind of gave me Bloodbath, but also through Planes of Power, myself, you, Pokin, and another rogue who had a shaman at the time. Zammy is the shaman. His rogue was named Pokin Jr. We'll have to ask him why he called it Pokin Jr. I want to hear that story.
We
But
know why.
What? Well,
We
you
know
tell me
he
then.
wanted to be. He's my baby.
He wanted to be just like you?
I'm his daddy.
Well, who's the mom?
There is. I think Serge has Pokin's mom.
Oh, really? Let's talk to Serge about this now. So we had like 3 of us, and also Oric was there. He was a dwarf rogue, if I remember correct. Um, and the 4 of us, kind of would always talk amongst ourselves and talk about like, hey, there's this item that's dropping. It's going to be a great dagger. Who's going to benefit the most from it? Who's got the worst dagger? And so we would do things like where you could win it for 21 DKP, which was pretty cheap, where you could, because you earned maybe what, like 20 to 30 DKP in a night,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
we would get those items and everybody collusion, collusion. I was like, look, it's partnership. Like, if we can agree amongst ourselves to, the greater good, any one of us was funny. It's kind of ironic. Could have backstabbed the other and, snuck something away, but it was a really cool time for me. And then I think Oric moved on, and it was just me, you, and PJ Pokin Jr. So it was Polly the Rogue, Pokin the Rogue, and Pokin Jr. the Rogue, and we started calling ourselves the Three Amigos. And I really enjoyed that. That was like a really fun time for me in PALS. I really enjoyed being on during that time, and just I would be in tells with both of you and just kind of going back and forth. And we had our own little channel on in the general chat just to be able to talk with that. That's one of my
Yeah,
PAL stories.
I wanted to share the story about. I don't know if you were with us. I want to say you were there on Poly, but we went and did some leveling over in Split Paw.
Okay, maybe.
And maybe. And so when we went to Split Paw, there was, I think Nodo was polling. Maybe Jackshammer was there. And no, maybe we didn't even have a where. I'm not
No, I
sure.
think Yarnax was there. I don't think it was Polly. I think it was Yarnax.
But we were pulling half the zone, if not the whole zone.
Yes, I
And
remember this story.
I know Maja was there. We were there for maybe 2 hours and maybe lost like one or two people. But Breadstacks was there for sure. Breadstacks was pulling, and it was just the unobscene amount of mobs. I've never seen anything like that. And we were just absolutely destroying everything.
Okay,
That's why
now I
a
know it
great
wasn't
memory
there.
I have.
Now I know it wasn't there. I don't remember this epic slaughtering in Paul. There
It
was another
it
story in Paul where we were trying to recruit somebody, and I thought that's what you were going with.
No, there was an epic slaughtering, the most epic of epic slaughtering.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see. Like I know Yarnax was kind of leveled up by Jackhammer and Breadstacks, and to see them pull 30 or 40 mobs and hold aggro, while little Yarnax, who didn't have any area effect spells or anything, had to go in and pink each one of them, hit each one of them, trying to get experience from it. And but it worked out. He's all grown up now.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
That's right.
Well, I think this is probably maybe a good place to stop.
Yeah, we got more stories. We could be here for hours talking about stories, but I want to kind of keep these not too long. Let us know if you prefer longer episodes, shorter episodes. I kind of like them to be 30, 45 minutes is good for me.
would let us know about the audio quality as well. We're trying to work on that. We're trying to figure out the right settings, get them working. But if you have any comments on the audio, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, and you can
We're
reach
now
us.
on a couple more streaming services.
Yeah, there's so many
iHeartRadio.
streaming services. I could just tell you. Let me look it up. I think it's like Anchor.fm, and you can find us on that. Just search for EverPALS, and then you can find all the services you're on. But if there's a service, I mean, you're listening to us now, so obviously you found it. But if there's another service that you would like us to be uploaded to, just let us know at everpalsthornblade@gmail.com, or you can also find us on our Discord, which is in the description of the podcast. But we'd like to hear from you or talk with you on Discord, get some feedback.
You can also, if you're on Mangler, you're interested in joining our guild or trying to help find the podcast, gaming-pals.com is the Pals website. And at the Pals website, you'll see a little blurb with our podcast listed there. Thanks to Mafaka and Nodo.
Yeah, thanks, Mafaka and Nodo. You can also just find us on the game itself in EverQuest on the Mangler server or Thornblade server. Either Yarnax or Pokin on Mangler or Pally and Flexen on Thornblade. You can always shoot us a tell. We'll be happy to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, come say hi.
All right, and with that, I think I'll play our little outro music.
Play the outro music.
Called it a great podcast for today.
I'll talk to you later.
Later.